Hello, my name is Caitlin, and today I'm going to be talking about some cultural differences we have in our world. As many of you know, the world is kind of a mess. We have Black Lives Matter movement, police brutality, defund the police, all this other kinds of stuff going on, mostly surrounding the African American that was killed, George Floyd. So I chose to talk about crime punishment, and if it was a hate crime, a bias crime, if the punishment should be higher, and race and adoptions. All crimes don't get the same punishment. Some get death penalties, some just get life in prison, some get 2 to 3 years, some get 15 to 25. It all just depends on the severity of the crime and what happened. In certain states, there is death penalty, which is the max penalty, and if that is the max penalty, then you'll be sent to death row, and eventually, if you don't pass away before your day comes, you will be executed in prison. I think certain crimes should have higher punishments, such as if you sat down and you picked out a specific person that you don't like and you made up an entire plan to kill them, murder them, and that's premeditated, that's a hate crime. So I think the punishment for that should be a little bit higher. Premeditated crimes are seen as an unethical decision, as DeVito talks about on page 103 in our textbook that we have for this class. And as many of you know, the highest penalty, like I said, is the death rate. And Grinnersterd, I don't know how to say his name exactly, he says that most of the time the death penalty is only given to those who committed a capital crime, such as murder, in those certain states. I believe that if you do, like I said, do the most max stuff, you should get the death penalty if you committed a murder or if you committed a hate crime or something like that. Other crimes, though, I don't believe should get death penalty, such as if you robbed a convenience store in your neighborhood and you stole a candy bar and got maybe away with like $30. I don't think you should get death penalty for that. Maybe a couple years in prison or jail, because you did rob someone, you did steal, that's a crime. The second thing I chose to talk about was race and adoptions. I wrote about it in my paper and I'm going to talk about it now. I don't believe that race should have any factor in adoptions at all. It's not like you go to the adoption agency and say, oh, I'm a white parent, I want one white baby and that's all I want. A parent should have a choice, but not when it comes to an adoption. Like, it's not based on race solely, it's based on who fits best with who. If the child and the mother fit perfectly well and that baby's white, then that's fine. But if, say, you have an African American baby and it fits perfectly with a white mother, I think it should still be okay. Adoption is about giving a permanent home to a child who does not have one. That's what Javier says in his text that I read online and I found about through our school library. And you also can't just be individual racist, as DeVito says, which an individual racist is when you automatically look at a different skin color person and you think something completely wrong about them. As many of stuff is happening today, like with the Black Lives Matter, everything, it's someone sees a black person and they're like, oh, he's a thug. Just like the social media is spreading around and everything like that. That's not exactly what it is or anything like that. So I think race shouldn't be any factor in an adoption process whatsoever. Children deserve a loving family, especially ones that don't have a loving family. And same with parents. If a couple can't have children, I think adoption is a great thing to do. It gets children out of the foster care system, it gives them a loving home and everything. So I don't think race should be factored in at all. So that's the end of my talk today. Like I said, I think that if it's a hate or bias crime, it should have a little bit of a higher punishment, because you did sit down and you planned it. You hate someone so much that you thought you needed to go commit a crime. Anything like that should definitely have a higher punishment. Maybe not max penalty unless it was murder. But other than that, I think punishment should be a little higher since you sat down and you thought about it. And about the race, I don't think race should be in any type of foster care system or anything to do with adoptions. And if you are a white couple and you think that you only want a white baby, then your mind's a little not where everyone else in the adoption facility or in adoption world is, because it's not about what you want and what your picture perfect family is. It's about a home for that child and a good child for that couple, not just race.